In 1975, an Australian electrician earned 15% more than the average male worker. Apprenticeship completion rates sat near 80%. The nation had no shortage of tradies. Today, Australia is short 83,000 skilled tradespeople, and more than half of all trade vacancies cannot be filled. This was not sudden. Australia spent decades quietly dismantling the very system that built it. In 1965, the sound of tools echoed from every construction site, workshop and suburban street across Australia. A retiring plumber handed over his battered toolbox to a teenage apprentice, the gesture carrying the weight of a lifetime's work and a promise of stability. Most apprentices started at 16, signing a formal agreement that mapped out 4 years of learning, 2 days each week in a TAFE classroom, the rest spent on the job, side by side with a tradesman who knew every pipe and circuit in town. The apprenticeship was a rite of passage. Community groups and local businesses sponsored new apprentices, their names printed in the local paper alongside football scores and council news. On weekends, tradesmen volunteered their skills to build school halls or repair the church roof, their work a visible thread in the fabric of civic life. The local electrician or carpenter was more than a service provider. They were a neighbour, a mentor, a fixture at the Saturday markets. Wages climbed with each year of training, starting at a modest 25% of a full tradesman's pay and rising steadily to more than half by the final year. By the time an apprentice qualified, a plumber or electrician could expect to earn 115% of the average male wage, enough to buy a home, raise a family and retire with dignity. Completion rates hovered between 75 and 80%, a testament to the system's strength and the value placed on hands-on skill. This was a world where trades were not a fallback, but a foundation. The work was hard, but the respect was real. For a generation of Australians, the trades offered a clear path: learn, work, contribute, belong. By the late 1980s, the ground beneath Australia's trades pipeline began to shift. In 1988, Education Minister John Dawkins unveiled a sweeping plan that would reshape the nation's idea of success. The Higher Education Funding Act, passed that year, introduced the Higher Education Contribution Scheme, HECS, making university more accessible than ever. Almost overnight, the number of university places surged by 30%, as technical colleges and colleges of advanced education were converted into new universities. Between 1988 and 1992, the country's university sector expanded from 22 to 41 institutions, absorbing thousands of students who might once have followed their parents into an apprenticeship. The message was clear: university was now the gold standard. School career advisors, government campaigns, and even family dinner conversations began to echo the same advice. Go to university, get a degree, secure your future. For many parents, sending their child to university was a badge of pride, a sign their family had moved up in the world. One homeowner, recalling those years, remembers the pressure. Mum and Dad always said, "Don't end up on the tools, get yourself a degree." This new prestige attached to academic pathways came at a cost. As more students filled lecture halls, fewer signed up for apprenticeships. The old certainty that a trade was a respectable, stable career began to fade. Technical and further education, TAFE, was left behind in the policy rush, its funding and status quietly eroded. The Dawkins reforms did more than just expand higher education. They shifted the cultural centre of gravity away from skilled manual work, setting up a long, slow decline in the trades pipeline that would ripple through the next 3 decades. Across Australia, the TAFE system once stood as the backbone of trade education, turning out generations of skilled workers. But from the mid-1990s, that foundation began to erode. Successive federal and state governments slashed vocational education funding, by more than 30% over 2 decades, forcing TAFE to operate under a contestable funding model. Instead of stable public investment, training dollars flowed to the lowest bidder, often private colleges with little incentive to run expensive, hands-on courses. The result was stark. Between 1995 and 2015, more than 30 TAFE campuses shut their doors, especially in regional and outer suburban communities. Campus closures meant fewer places to learn the trades that kept Australia running. Essential courses in plumbing, electrical and carpentry disappeared from local timetables, replaced in some cases by short, less rigorous certificates. The introduction of VET FEE help loans in 2008 brought a wave of private providers promising quick qualifications, but many delivered little more than paperwork. For young Australians hoping to start an apprenticeship, the pathway narrowed sharply. A TAFE representative recalls that whole cohorts were lost. Kids who would have been the next generation of Sparkies or Chippies just had nowhere to go. Completion rates, once a point of national pride, collapsed. In the early 2000s, almost 4 out of 5 apprentices finished their training. By 2023, that figure had halved. Only about half of all apprentices now reach the end of their course, leaving thousands each year without a ticket to work. The collapse of the training pipeline is not just a statistic, it is a warning. A system built to deliver skilled hands and steady careers has been hollowed out, leaving the country short on both workers and hope. The numbers leave little room for doubt. In 2024, the National Centre for Vocational Education Research reported a 4% drop in trade apprentices across Australia. That is 10,000 fewer new starters compared to just 3 years earlier. The pipeline that once fed the nation's building sites and workshops is faltering year after year. By the end of 2024, the total number of working tradies had shrunk by 27,000, a loss that cannot be explained by a single bad year or a passing downturn. When the Department of Employment released its occupation shortage report in June 2025, the fill rate for advertised technician and trade jobs stood at just 57%. Nearly half of all positions for plumbers, electricians and carpenters were left vacant, even as demand kept rising. The Housing Industry Association put the shortfall into stark terms. To meet residential construction targets, Australia needs an extra 83,000 skilled tradies by 2026. That is not a stretch goal. It is the minimum required just to keep up with projected building demand. The gap is now a national emergency. Master Builders Australia links the shortage directly to the federal government's target of 1.2 million new homes over 5 years, warning that without a 30% increase in the trade workforce, those homes simply will not get built. The reality is visible in every delayed project and every household waiting weeks for a simple repair. According to the HIA spokesperson, we are not talking about a future risk. The crisis is here, and it is deepening. These figures confirm what many have suspected. The shortage is not a blip or a cyclical downturn. It is a structural failure, the result of a broken training pipeline and years of policy neglect. The consequences now reach every corner of the country, from city suburbs to rural towns, affecting homeowners, renters, and anyone hoping to build or maintain a home. A leaking pipe in a Sydney home now means waiting 6 weeks for a plumber, if you can get one at all. The average call-out fee has climbed past $150 before a wrench even touches the tap. For many homeowners, especially retirees on fixed incomes, these numbers are more than an inconvenience. They are a sign that something fundamental has changed. Across the country, renovation budgets stretch thin as labour costs surge. The Australian Construction Price Index attributes up to 12% of recent cost inflation to the shortage of skilled trades. Real estate agents warn that delays in basic repairs can shave thousands off a property's value or leave families in limbo, unable to move in or sell. Industry projections show the shortfall is not closing. By 2026, another 83,000 tradies will be needed just to keep up with demand. For ordinary Australians, the pain of this shortage is measured not in statistics, but in days spent waiting, bills that keep rising, and the slow grinding loss of confidence that the basics of daily life will be taken care of. A generation of skilled tradespeople is quietly stepping away from the tools, taking decades of hard-won knowledge with them. In 2022, 38% of Australia's trade workforce was aged 45 or older. The familiar faces who once trained apprentices, built neighbourhoods and kept the lights on are now retiring faster than new workers can take their place. The loss is more than numbers on a spreadsheet. It is the disappearance of tacit skills, methods passed from hand to hand, never written down, shaped by years of experience and local know-how. Home ownership among tradies has slipped from 62% in the 1970s to just 38% today, reflecting a path that no longer guarantees stability or reward. Each retirement leaves a gap that is not easily filled. The risk is not just fewer plumbers or electricians, but the fading of a culture where practical wisdom and community ties were built on trust, repetition and pride in a job done right. Australia's skills gap isn't a passing crisis. It's a slow unravelling of the systems that once built this nation. As an entire generation of tradies retires, the cost of neglecting their legacy falls on every home and street. The question is, who will rebuild what's been lost?